Smolov Jr program, and I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to actually record all of these as far as how I'm going to put all this together, because I'm going to do a documentary of 3 weeks, so 4, 8, 12, 16. 16 of these, this is number 2, so I don't know how this is all going to work out. But feeling pretty good. I feel like I'm on the right path. I think what's kind of cool is that I actually know what I have to do today and the rest of the week, at least for bench press. So we'll see how things go as I journey on Smolov Jr. I feel like I'm going to be able to hit 315 on my meet day. This weight's getting super light. This is the second day of Smolov Jr. I think the best workouts are when, as you increase the weight, as you increase your sets, or on each, how should I say this? On each and every single following set, the weight gets lighter, or feels lighter, although the weight is either going up or staying the same. I think that's going to be my new definition of a good workout, because the bar is fucking flying up, and I'm finding my bench press groove, and I'm feeling pretty damn good. So I'm going to do 225 for a set of 5, all paused. Something I haven't done in a really long time. I think the greatest fear when it comes to benching, like compared to the bench press and the deadlift, or the squat and the deadlift, I should say, is that you don't see the bar. It's not in front of you. So when you have the bar kind of like right over your chest or over your face, I should say, and you're at a max weight, it can be scary. And when you can see what's coming right at you, almost like a gun pointed to your head, it's not quite the same as feeling it and having it pointed to your head at the same time. So it's kind of cool, or it's kind of a thought that I had. The reason why, that's one of the biggest reasons why the bench press is so difficult for a lot of people, is because we sort of intentionally sandbag a lot more, whereas the bench press, squat, and deadlift, you obviously get a lot more behind the bar, a lot more weight behind the bar, and you exert yourself. Whereas with the bench press, you try your best, but sometimes the fear and the nerves kind of get into your skin, and they make you, I don't know, I guess fail, or just not give it as hard as you could. Workout day number 3 of meet prep for USPLA powerlifting meet at Vacaville. Thinking about kind of what I'm going to do today for deadlifts. Not following any particular program other than trying to just work up to something heavy. I did 7 repetitions of 7 singles at 505 last week. I'm going to see if I can get 5 somewhere in the mid 500s a day. So we'll see how it goes. Training tips I do, so wear these makeshift Versus straps, or RDX straps, to kind of give my grip a break. And I guess grip has never been an issue, but one thing that has been an issue is elbow pain, having tennis elbow or medial golf elbow, medial epicondylitis from overuse typically of the grip. And I find that if I'm training lots of volume like I'm doing this week, especially doing bench Smolov, doing deadlifts on day 3 of my training wears out the shit out of my grip, and it usually leads to elbow pain, especially in the beginning or this second week into a hard training cycle. So that's a tip there. Some thoughts. Day of benching this week on Smolov Jr program. I'm actually doing some prep work. Actually, I did before this, foam rolling my forearms, because I'm starting to feel a little bit of elbows tightness, especially after doing some deadlifts. Even though I use straps, you can still feel them. And if I don't kind of get ahead of my problem, I'm going to have issues for the entire few weeks. So it's kind of important that when you train, you try to get ahead of your problem. That way you don't run into things that could potentially sideline you, because elbow pain will definitely sideline how much I can lift. 88 days out today. 88 days from today will be May 31st. I'm going to be competing in the class above, I think, 95 kilos. Going to be competing in the 220 class. Or maybe it's 100 kilos. Because I don't want to cut. I'm probably going to walk in at 209, maybe 205, somewhere around there. Feeling pretty good. 8 sets of 4. Did the second set. Super fast. Feeling very tight. I don't know. It's a pretty good start of the week. I've got my elbow brace here to make sure that, or elbow support, to make sure that I wear out my elbows too much, because then on Friday, which is 2 days from today, today's Wednesday, I do 80% for 10 sets of 3. And that's going to be, I don't know how rough it's going to be. We'll see.
People love to work out. People love to train. People who watch videos, the videos that you're watching right now, are those that are interested in lifting weights, strength training. There's lots of different reasons. Could be a bigger bench, could be a bigger squat, could be bigger deadlift, powerlifting. It could just be to look good. And kind of what I think about in training is self-programming. It's the funnest thing for me. It's the thing I enjoy. But I guess there comes a point when self-programming is not working, or it's not doing what you want it to. And that typically means that I am beyond my own abilities to coach myself. So the next phase would be either to follow a templated program, a little bit to an exact-T or close to an exact-T, a little bit more strictly, or hire a coach. It takes a lot of discipline to follow a coach. Coaching in itself means you are relying on someone else, or maybe not relying. You're relying on some things, but definitely what you are doing is you are letting go of a good part of the thinking process. And in truth, that's the best part for me. It's this part I enjoy. I love figuring out the puzzle. But because I'm closer to my meet, I kind of think a little bit more critically, and sort of want to, actually I do want to reach my goals, but at the same time I want to reach them in the way I want to reach them, which is stubborn as hell. But if you can imagine yourself having some flaws or issues, or maybe you have a friend or family member, know somebody that has these issues, that they gotta find it for themselves. Maybe that's a teenager in me, maybe that's the kid in me, but it's part of the process that I enjoy. I actually have a longer winded explanation or excuse for why I haven't hired a coach yet. I've come quite close, but I haven't yet, and I'll save that for another video. What I will talk about right now is competing at 100 kilograms and why I'm competing at 100 kilograms. There's this really great video, and I've talked about it maybe last year, but it was a Brendan Lilly video talking about weight class and cutting. And he talked a lot about how you should only really cut if you're actually trying to break a world record. Because a lot of us who do powerlifting don't do it for the money, for sure. We do it for the love of the sport. We do it for the love of the competition. Now, one could argue that lifting, in a lower weight class and cutting is all part of the challenge, and I do agree with it. I actually do agree with that. That's actually a good reason for the competition, is to be competitive, right? But one of my biggest things is that when you drop weight, and you're essentially adding another variable that I just don't have to mess with. I've only been lifting seriously for 2 years now, and I haven't put on the muscle. I have good motor control, but I don't have the muscle and experience in these ranges of motion or these skill sets. So cutting weight would just put me in a position where I would end up losing a lot of gains. So I've kind of committed myself to just not worry about it so much. I do want to keep the weight under control. I'm sitting at around 210. I did diet for the last day and a half so I can get under 210, and that's for the purposes of just not getting too fat. I do have some self-respect for how I look, and I'm getting a little softer than I'd like, and arguably I could be ridiculously soft right now, but everyone has their limits, and I'm approaching them. But I do want to say that Brendan Lilly video just kind of made me think about, like, why are you lifting weights? Why are you powerlifting? Why are you into the sport? Why are you lifting to look good? Or are you lifting to just to get strong? And I mean, again, veering off topic and all over the place, I just kind of think about, like, what? I just want to get as good as I can and not focus too much on my aesthetic appearance, or in this case, get lean. Because for me, what's more important to me is, I don't know, I don't want to fucking have to worry about that piece, that stress of me. I mean, for those of you that competed that last week of powerlifting meet, leading up to the meet, it's very nerve-wracking, and if you're barely making weight, I mean, it's very stressful, and it's just something. The meet is already stressful in itself. The last thing I want to do is add this little bit in it. And maybe in the future I will compete. I do want to compete at 181 at some point, but that time is not now. So until I'm able to squat 500 for reps, it's gonna be a little while. But that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I do have other content coming up with this Smolov bench. I'm gonna piece all these stuff together. The time it takes to edit this stuff takes a really long time, and I'm getting really backlogged. So I kind of want to just put this out there and just kind of add more things and kind of just share my story. Leave a comment below if you have a question. If you are this far into the video, I appreciate you for hanging out for me for a little bit longer than most other subscribers would. I'd like to ask you, how are you doing in your goal and progress? When is your next meet? Or maybe what's your weight cut? What is it in your fitness that you're working on? I'd like to hear from you. Or maybe there's an injury you're rehabbing. I love to hear kind of what's happening, and maybe I can respond. I'll probably respond to those comments for sure. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you